afternoon, and welcome to Afternoon Cocktail. This is episode number 9, and today's theme is compassion. I've brought along with me romance novelist Georgia Beers from Western New York and Nashville singer-songwriter Alyssa, Jacey. We're going to get rolling. Hang tight.
What's up, everybody? My name is
Alyssa.
This is my brand new single called Why I Left. I gave up just about everything for a lofty goal of chasing my dream. To me, it was obvious, no contest, but they don't understand why I left. In a ceiling city, you only go so far. I'm tired of pounding the pavements that are surfing the stars. Destined for more, set up less. Why can't they understand why I left? I left the West Coast alone. Never looked back once. Because I know the future doesn't live behind you for me. It's what lies ahead that sets us free. I'm not like them, so they shut me out. I had dreams and they had doubts. They feel safe nuzzled in their nest. They can't understand why I left. I left the West Coast alone. Never looked back once. Because I know the future doesn't live behind you for me. It's what lies ahead that sets us free. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. I took a risk, afraid to fail. The last 7 years, wind in my sails. I have everything and nothing, and no regrets, and I still can't understand why I left. No, they still don't understand why I left. I left the West Coast alone. Never looked back once, because I know the future doesn't live behind you for me. It's what lies ahead that sets us free. Sha-la-la-la-la-la. Raised, bathed in sunlight, loved and blessed, so no one understands why I left. I wanna follow in the footsteps of all the rest. Wanna live my life and not second guess. Wanna be remembered, wanna be the best. Can't understand why they don't understand why I left. Maybe one day you'll understand.
Bravo, my friend. Alyssa, it's so great to hear your voice and to see you again. I can't believe it's been 7 years. Do you believe that? Since we first met?
I do believe it. I think it's been at least
Oh my God.
4, 5, 4. Carry the
No, more. I think
7.
it's been about 7. Yeah, about 7 years. It's crazy.
I remember walking into
But
your
anyway,
house. It was a bright sunny day, and it was very spacious.
well, we were actually at my friend, who's now like my bestie for life, Spencer's house. We gave an attempt at co-writing a song, and yeah, Alyssa. I mean, congratulations, first of all. You are recently married, so that's number one. But congratulations on your continued success. I mean, I always kind of felt like, after we had met, that we were kindred spirits, because you, girl, hustle like no other. And I love that about you, because I have that in my heart and soul too, that I love to work.
You too.
But
Thank you. Thank you for
so,
having me, by the way.
oh, of course, my pleasure. So let's talk about your song. So the song that you just played, Why I Left, it recounts your beginnings in San Diego, correct? So you were born and raised in San Diego. You've been living in Nashville for how long now?
June will be 8.5 years.
Wow. Okay. So maybe it is less time, but I'm not sure. Either way,
really 5 or 6 potentially, but yeah, somewhere long, and
yeah. Well, so tell me about what inspired you to write this song.
Ever since the very first time I told anyone that I was moving to Nashville, family excluded, they have been super supportive and actually incredibly encouraging for me to leave my little hometown nest. People are just very confused. Like I write in several different genres, and I often hear, why, if you're not a country artist, why are you moving to Nashville? Or why would you leave your family? Why would you leave the beach? Why would you leave perfect weather? And those people just don't get it. Those are the people I refer to as, they're just like, they're so comfortable where they are in their own little bubble. They don't understand what it's like to explore and leave what you've known for your entire life for a passion.
Sure. This song, when I was listening to it, I've been listening to this song for the past few days, and just reading up on your bio and looking up some stuff about you and stuff that I didn't already know. And, I kind of feel very similar to how you feel. Your lyrics touched me in the sense where, like, when I left Long Island, I had the same thing. I moved up to Rochester straight out of college. And it's a very different part of New York where I'm at now. And people are like, why are you going up there? Like, or, like they have a misconception of what it's truly like out here. And it's not different. I don't live amongst hillbillies, or, like everybody's like, normal people out here too. And it's gorgeous. And up until they come and see it and feel it, then they understand.
Their misconception is that, oh, it's not the city, why would you leave, like that?
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. It just seems strange to them, But so how does Nashville resonate more with you and your sound nowadays? And I mean, how does Nashville take on more of those home traits that San Diego didn't? Do you feel more at peace with the people or your surroundings than you did at home?
I just feel more connected to this city, and I felt like it the first time I toured here. Before I moved, I had toured here 4 times, and each tour I kept pushing longer. Like my first time here, it was supposed to be only 4 days, and I moved to 10. The next time it was supposed to be 10 days, and I was here for an extra day. And the third time, I think I was supposed to be here for a week, stay for 10 days. And then the fourth time, I had driven from San Diego to Nashville, and I ended up leaving my car here, flying back home, getting rid of my condo, breaking up with my boyfriend, and saying, peace out, family, and everything I've ever known for the last 30 years of my life, I'm moving to Nashville. And it just was the right thing.
Good for you.
Thank you. And I want to tell anyone who's watching this, it was never the right time until that moment. My brother has always tried to encourage me throughout my life, because he went to Ithaca. We're both from San Diego, right? But my brother went to Ithaca College in New York. And he's like, I really feel like you're missing out on this huge other aspect of people and life and culture, just staying in your little bubble, in your little nest. And I just never felt, I moved to Northern California for a year for school. I've lived in LA for a little bit, but never left California. And it was that fourth time coming to Nashville where I refer to it as electric signs, arrows pointing, and like this gravitational pull. Like, Alyssa, your life will never be the same in a really good way if you don't move here. So get your butt over here.
You know what I realize as I get older? I just feel like you don't have to make excuses anymore or explain yourself. You know, I think your story and your life is made for you to understand, and as long as you're happy with your decisions and where you're moving forward to, it's not for anybody else to get. You know, the people that love you and support you will trust in your heart that you're doing the right thing for yourself. So you're a little bit of a late bloomer to music, which I didn't realize. So I read that you started was it 23 playing
Yes.
and singing.
Yep, I'm 38 now. I like sharing my age.
I just turned 35, so don't feel bad.
Heck yeah. No, I never feel bad. Ever since I turned 30, I'm like, you know my age? I'm 30, I'm 31, 32, 34, 30. I just tell everybody every year. I'm so happy to be in my 30s.
Hey, I think it's a good time. I feel like I'm the most comfortable in my own skin than I've ever been. So
the
more yeah, high five. You know, I think the older you get, the more you feel that, and you get a sense of who you are, and you've accomplished so much in since you were 23. So I mean, you definitely built a name for yourself out on the Nashville scene. I mean, you were one of the first people I was introduced to, and told to hook up with. So I'm really grateful that we were able to keep in contact all this time, and to see you still just rolling it all out. It's awesome. So now you actually are not only releasing your own music, but you're helping other talent. Correct? You started your own talent agency.
Yes, not on purpose. It was by this whole. I feel like this whole thing with music and with TV hosting and with public speaking and with owning my own career coaching business, it all kind of just showed up to me. And I don't want to use the word fell in my lap, because I believe that you kind of direct your own path, and there are reasons for these things showing up in my life. But after living here for about 2.5 years and hosting all those writers' nights at Hotel Indigo and a few different other venues, I would constantly have people come up to me and ask me questions like, how did you come up with blue for your brand, and how did you get it to work, and how did you come up with your slogan, and how are you touring internationally? How did you open for Bruno Mars a couple times? How are you doing this, that, this, that? And I just kept giving the answers out because I wanted to help. And finally someone said, you need to turn this into a business because you're just giving away free advice. And I'm like, well, shoot, I like giving away free advice because I like helping, but I could really use the extra cash right now, so sure. And then I developed Image 1228, which was at first a booking agency / mentoring, career coaching. And for the last few years, it's just been strictly mentoring.
So what services are you providing your clients? It's like, you're just booking them in Nashville, or do you have like temporary clients? Like let's say I came out to Nashville, and I was like, hey, Alyssa, I want to book some shows. Would I be able to come to you for that, or anybody else, or direct people to you?
Yes, absolutely. I've been working with a girl in Canada, out in California. I work with tons of people all over the place just via Skype, or face-to-face here in Nashville. The main things I try to teach everyone is just all that I know. I don't pretend to do things like I can introduce you to a publishing agency, because I've never met a publishing agency. I've never been signed to a publishing agency before. I'm not going to promise you I can introduce you to this label, because I don't know anyone at a label. But what I can do is teach you everything that I've done. And if you want to know what that is, you can go to my bio on alyssajacey.com, or you can go to Image 1228 and Image 12. Those are spelled out words, and then 28.com, and that has more information there for what I can offer.
So you've done extensive touring. Like I remember when I first met you, I believe you had toured in Hawaii. Like I know you, obviously you're from California. You've made your way up the coast, and you've gone abroad as well, right?
Yes, 4 times.
I love it. So do you do all this booking yourself? It
Yes.
wouldn't surprise me.
Yes.
Girl, you're in like beast mode all the time. It's so awesome. I love it. So I mean, what kind of advice do you give, your clients, or to anybody that, your work ethic is probably something that was learned? I mean, do you come from a strong work ethic background? Like, were your parents hustlers, or anybody in your family? Did they hustle as hard as you?
My father is a stop at nothing go-getter. He went through, I don't know, 15 years of school. I mean, he's a retired ophthalmologist, but he's an engineer first, and he's self-made. He came from absolutely nothing. His side of the family is very, very poor. And he busted his butt until he became one of the first doctors in the world to test out the LASIK, to do LASIK surgery, so the laser for the eye.
Wow.
My mom was bad A mom. She's kick butt. I don't want to cuss on here, but she just has been the most encouraging person in my life. Super sweet. She's a registered nurse now, but she was a mom for a long time and went back to school way later on in life. And I have a brother who he thought he wanted to be in the film industry, and he was working on TV shows as a camera assistant, and then decided to take a break and pursue career coaching. And now he has been like the #1 salesperson in the Anthony Robbins companies for several years. So I'm definitely surrounded by people who encourage me. And the one piece of advice I would give anyone listening to this, if you are self-made or an artist booking your own shows, it's do not accept no as your first answer. I have turned lots of no's into yeses by simply trying 1 or 2 more times.
Persistency. I know people ask me a lot of the same questions out here in Rochester that you were asked in Nashville, and I actually toyed with the idea of starting an agency or a booking for other people. I did for a minute, but yeah, that persistency is the one tip I always give everybody. It's just if you really want something bad, don't be afraid to be annoying. Like just go out there, make yourself known, introduce yourself to people face to face, and don't be afraid to be persistent, because all those people that do give up, your name will stick out there above that pile. So
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, congratulations on everything that you've done. I mean, it's impressive, and I think you're wonderful. I love you. I wish you'd come out to New York sometime soon. You should come out to Rochester. It's really fun. And do some shows.
Maybe after all this COVID stuff is done, I'll come out.
I got one more question. So today's theme is compassion, and you're no stranger to love and to writing about love and relationships. And I mean, how does love and compassion differ in your eyes, and why is it important now more than ever to spread both?
I would never. I think it's always just as important to spread both, regardless of if COVID-19 is around, or presidents are getting elected that people don't enjoy, or you're going through a fight with your family, or whatever it is. It's always important 100% of the time to keep a positive attitude as much as you can. I am not perfect, and I know my what you perceive me as is just this constant, bubbly, happy person. And that's true, like 90-something% of the time. Even when I'm hungover or very tired, because I do have insomnia, I still am pretty much the same. But I do go through my trials and tribulations. But I think it's important regardless. No matter what, just keep your head above water, and remind yourself that you're here for a purpose. And if you don't know what that purpose is, don't worry. It's just here waiting for you. Just keep trying.
Amen, sister. Thank you so much for being on the show. And you hang tight, because we're going to bring back Alyssa for one more song towards the end of our show, or towards the end of our program. And in the meantime, I'm going to bring another hustler, Miss Georgia Beers. Girl, I'm so impressed by you too. You girls like inspire me so much. So Georgia Beers is the award-winning author of nearly 30 lesbian romance novels. She resides in Western New York, and she just had a release yesterday. You can visit her. And what was the title of your
Flavor of the Month? Flavor of the Month.
Flavor of the Month. And it's already number 3 at Amazon, right?
It is.
I love it.
Romance section.
You can visit her and find out more at www.georgiabeers.com. Georgia, such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. This is awesome. I feel like I'm an audience member listening to Alyssa singing. That was great.
Thank you.
I originally met Georgia as an audience member and had no idea how incredible you were.
Thank you.
So 30 romance novels is an impressive amount of publications. I mean, when did you begin your journey as a writer?
I have been published since 2000. My first book came out in 2000, but I have been writing. I've been writing as long as I can remember. If I think back to my earliest memories to when I was old enough to be able to write, I don't remember ever not writing short stories, writing journals, something like that. My mother actually has an old report card from second grade, I believe it is, that she showed me once. And it had two things on it that resonated with me. One said, Georgia likes to tell stories. And the other said that she spells above her grade level. So yeah, I've been writing for a long, long time. I never really considered it as a career until probably the late 90s. As a lesbian, there was not a lot out there for me to read. And I was reading a lesbian romance at the time that was not good at all. And I don't remember what it was. And if I did, I wouldn't say anyway, but I remember finishing it and I threw it down. And my partner at the time I said to my partner at the time, I could have done this better. And she's great. She looked at me and she said, with this like very pensive look, she said, so what's the difference between that author and you? And I said, she actually wrote a book. And she was like, yes. So I took that as a challenge and I wrote my very first novel and I got it published.
What an amazing partner.
Yeah. Yeah. She was great. She was great. We're not together anymore, but we're still very good friends.
Good. Well, yeah. I mean, I had no idea that there was like a whole nother subgenre up until I started reading about you. I mean, so what's FF stand for?
That is female. So there are different. It gets really complicated because there's a genre. It's F/F. So it's female, and sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean a lesbian romance. It just means two women together, and a lot of times that'll be in the overreaching arc of a heterosexual romance. But then there's lesbian romance and there's bisexual romance and there's transgender romance. So there's a whole bunch of tiny little subgenres under that umbrella. There's a lot there that I didn't know about it either. And a lot of people, even a lot of lesbians and a lot of bisexuals don't know that this kind of romance exists. We've actually switched it to WLW, which is women loving women. So it's a little broader than, instead of just saying these are lesbians, because we have bisexuals and we have non-binary and we have gender fluid. And there's such a wide array of people that now we just kind of lump it all into women loving women literature.
Awesome. Yeah, I had no idea that even existed. And I mean, you've pretty much pioneered for this. I mean, you're
I've been doing this for a long time. When you guys gave your ages, I was like, oh.
Oh, stop. So one of my favorite things that I came across on your website, you had a cheeky little video of a day in the life of a writer,
yes.
which I thought was so cute.
Thank you.
I love that. It's so nice to see, because like a lot of the times you pick up a novel and you see you see a book, you see a cover, you see a title, you read the back of it, you get to know the author by a description. Right. But just having a little video like that was funny. It really showcased your personality.
That was a lot of fun to make. And it's so true. Yeah. There's no way that I sit down and I write for 8 hours a day. I write for 20 minutes and I go get something to eat. And then I come back and I write for an hour and I throw in some laundry. I mean, that's how the day goes. Sometimes I stare off into space. Sometimes I watch Netflix.
And you said that movies really inspire you to write as well.
Yes.
Like what types of, do you only watch romance movies or is it everything?
That's actually a really good question. I do not only watch romance movies. I love romance movies. And at Christmas time, I have the Hallmark Channel on nonstop. Go ahead, criticize, make fun. I don't care. I watch them all and I love them. But I love thrillers. Psychological thrillers are my favorite. I love a good scary movie. I won't say that I like slasher films, but there are some slasher films that I like. I have recently started to cultivate a little bit of a interest in documentaries. So it kind of runs the gamut, my taste, but it's definitely rom-coms and psychological thrillers are my go-tos, but I do get a lot of inspiration from movies, definitely.
So, what is it about the subject of love that just keeps pulling you in?
It's the journey, Amanda. It's the journey. It's not even love itself. It's getting there. It's the meet cute, and it's the development of that sexual tension that just is so delicious and keeps you holding on and keeps you rooting for this couple. I mean, if I know that I've written a good book, if I can't wait to get these two in bed together. You know what I mean? It's just that journey. It's from the meet cute to the happily ever after. I just love that whole span. It never gets old for me.
Would you consider yourself a hopeless romantic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. To my detriment sometimes, yes. But you know what? I wouldn't change it for the world. I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm very happy being a hopeless romantic. I'm very proud of it. Actually, my next book that comes out in August is called Hopeless Romantic.
I love it. Thanks. My gosh. So how many books a year do you put out?
I'm working on 3 right now, which is a tight schedule, but it's interesting because the landscape has changed with the popularity of the internet and then online shopping and then ebooks and Amazon. Everything has moved so quickly that it used to be you would, if you were a writer, you'd kind of sit around until your muse hit. And now you can't do that. You have to kind of force the muse. You have to yank her out of the corner and be like, all right, we're writing today. What are we writing about? Because if you don't, someone else will come and take your place. You know, your readers are so used to instant gratification. They can hit a button and there's your book. And so if there's not another one coming out in a few months, they will move on to somebody else. So you have to, in order to stay relevant in this day and age, you really have to step up the pace.
Sure. I feel that way with music,
especially
too.
In romance.
You want to keep things fresh, right? So Absolutely. Do you write like simultaneously? Like, do you write 2 books at once? Like, do you ever get stuck writing one book and then you're like, all right, well, I'll work on my other book in the meantime and write, or you feel like that's confusing ideas, or how do you typically work?
Since I started 3 books a year, so it's been, I think this is my 3rd year doing that, might be my 4th. There are always 3 books going at any given time, not being written all at the same time, but there's one that I'm writing, there's one that I'm editing, and there's one that I am doing the final proof on. And then sometimes there's 4, because then often I will get an email from my publisher who says, I need your next idea. I need your next blurb. I need your next title. So I never have just one going, and that took some getting used to, because it is hard creatively to pull myself out of this book and then submerge myself back into this one that I have already written the words "the end" for, and I have sent it off. So now I want to forget about it for a while, but oops, now it's back and I have to read it again. So it's an interesting process, and it took a little getting used to. But yeah, at any given time, there are at least 3 books going at once.
Wow, that's so amazing.
Thank
you.
So
are your writings, I mean, you're a fictional writer, but I'm sure your writings are based off of maybe past feelings or emotions that you felt, or, I mean, is any of your writings a reflection of any bits of what you would hope for in a relationship, or that lust that you're still like gravitating towards wanting, or maybe something that you felt in the past?
I think people often ask me if like characters are based on people that I know, or based on myself, or experiences that I've had. And I try not to do that on purpose. I think that most of my romances are twists on fantasies. Of course, there's a lot of fantasy involved in romance, not just for my readers, but for me as well. You know, I see 2 good-looking women on TV and I think, boy, they would make a hot couple. And so in my head, those are my characters. I've done that so many times. All of my characters in all of my books, all of my couples are celebrities in my head. And I don't tell anybody who they are because I don't want to mess with anyone's interpretation. But to me, I know who they all are. I don't think it's possible for me to not have bits and pieces of myself show up here and there in every book. It's rarely conscious. It's almost always unconscious. I don't remember which book it was now, but I had one of my friends come to me and say, we had that exact conversation about baseball or something like that. And I was like, we did. So like, it wasn't intentional. I wasn't like, this was a great conversation, let me put it in a book. I just reiterated my thoughts on the subject, and it ended up being an exact conversation I had with a friend of mine. But other than things like that, I don't use people I know. I don't want to get myself in trouble like that, but there's always bits and pieces of real life put into my fiction. I don't think there's a way to avoid that.
Very cool. So what's got you most excited about Flavor of the Month? That's your newest release.
Yes, Flavor of the Month is a little bit of a combination. It's what's called a second chance romance. So it's about two people who have been together in the past and then end up running into each other again for whatever reason, and things are rekindled. But more than that, it's kind of to me, it's a book about redemption, because one of the characters made some mistakes early on, and as the book progresses, she begins to understand the pain that those mistakes caused, and she starts to wonder things like, does she deserve forgiveness? Can you come back from a big mistake? Are you allowed to try again? Those are interesting things for me to explore. So, and there's pie. There's a lot of pie. I had to do a lot of pie research for this one. One of my characters,
cherry pie,
is a baker. Lots of pie, cherry pie. There's banana cream pie. There's coconut cream pie. There's apple pie. There's key lime pie. I did a lot of pie research, Amanda. A lot of pie research.
What's your favorite pie?
My favorite is probably, it's a toss up between cherry, blueberry, and I like Wegmans makes a triple berry that's amazing. It's delicious.
Wegmans has all the good pies, that's for sure. Awesome. Well, Georgia, thank you so much for your time and
thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
Oh my God, I wish you continued success, and make sure you all check out georgiabeers.com, and that's where you could find her latest and see that cute little video that I just spoke about, and make sure you pick up her book, Flavor of the Month. Alyssa, you still hanging out with us?
Oh, yes, definitely. I'm adjusting some cords below my ankle.
Awesome. Well, I see that your next song that you're going to perform is called Love Is All You Need, which is very appropriate for today's theme. Thank you.
Yeah.
Take it away. Thank you so much for being on our show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Can I say like one thing about this song before I play?
Of course. Say whatever you want.
I think it's so fun to be a musician and a writer for so many different ways. And Georgia, that was very entertaining to hear all of the things that you said about your writing process. I'm certain that you and I, Amanda, were connecting with so much of what you said.
Totally.
Very much.
I'm not a novelist, but there's so much about what you said. And it's like, yes. Am I muted? Because I want to say yes. I want to jump into this conversation. So thank you for that handedness, if that's a word. I just love how songs and how creativity just shows up out of nowhere. And one night I was feeling very pressured because I was going to play Third and Lindsley, which is a really nice venue here in Nashville, for the first time in 7 years. And I didn't have what I would call like a really good opening song. And I had my set list of 4 or 5 songs I was going to play. And what do I do to grab the attention of people? And I really like rap, growing up being a hip hop instructor and dancer. And I had all these kind of rappy things in my head all the time, but I never put them into words. And so I remember walking down my hallway in my tiny little apartment, and then all of a sudden this song hit me, and it came out in about 30 minutes. So, and then I released it last March, actually, so about a year ago. Yeah, this is called Love Is All You Need. One, love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Get the most out of life. Take a breath, open your eyes, learn it, live it, pass it on. Give it back before it's gone. Celebrate who you are, love with all of your heart, let it go, set it free. Love is all you'll ever need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love, 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 love. take the chance, it's worth the risk. Regrets will be something you'll miss. Drink the wine, ride the wave, don't go back on yesterday. Gratitude will humble you. Practice this attitude. Be remembered for the marks you leave. Love is all you'll ever need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. This is the bright side. We all get one life, so why not make it the best it can be? Or run a timeline. It goes by, run out eventually. I keep the love close by me. Use my time wisely. Never let a day go by. Right, I'll try to be the best that I could be. And like a boring puzzle piece, keep the piece and always stay the course in front of me. Love everybody. My daddy and my mommy taught me to be the light when no one can see. So I'll do my best, be an example to the rest, and never rest until I get to where I want to be. Sing. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love, 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 love. Love is all you need. Love is all you need. Love is all you need.
Miss Alyssa Jacey. AlyssaJC.com is where you could find all her music. It's streamed all over the place, so check her out and make sure you download her newest single. And girls, thank you so much again. I can't thank you enough for being on the show and for sharing your beautiful, brilliant minds with us. Today's theme was compassion, and I want to leave you off with a nice final thought to think about. Compassion is all around us. It's in our schools. It's fighting our wars. It's policing crime. It's saving people from burning buildings. It's healing the sick and wounded in our hospitals. It's lifting those around us who need a boost of positivity. When you start resonating with the heart of another human being, it triggers a wave of energy, a wave of light, and that's what we call empathy. It is a love that channels another dimension of your being. Compassion inspires, it heals, it comforts. Connecting with others in a meaningful way helps us to obtain better mental and physical health. Difficult times are an inevitable part of our life experiences. However, feeling like you're all alone in your thoughts or frustration or alone in your heartbreak or trauma can trigger and bring on more stress, heartache, and anxiety. Remember that despite all our differences, we have one thing in common, and that's being human. We were given lives to live out with a meaningful purpose. All it takes is a moment to step outside of ourselves and to try and understand the people and situations around us. Compassion is simply lending an ear or a shoulder, extending a hand, and lending your heart to those in need. It's sharing love, sharing past experiences you've been through, and sharing the techniques that help pull you through those difficult times. It's letting someone know that they're not alone and that they too will make it through. It's sharing opportunities and supporting the aspirations of others and rooting them along their path to success. It's sharing genuine acts of kindness with a stranger who appears to be in distress. One small act of compassion can ignite a spark of hope in someone else, and it can positively impact and turn someone's life around. Be the change that you wish to see in the world. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today to Afternoon Cocktail. This was our 9th episode. Big thank you always to Boyer Productions, boyer.com. And we will see you back here this Friday with a brand new show. You guys take care.
Thank you, man.